All of these are signs of approval from people and institutions that we would like to please. Step 10 of the CLUP 12-step process is about review, adoption, and approval of the land use plan drafted by the local government unit, and the end goal is for the land use plan to be reviewed, adopted, and approved by the concerned institutions so that it can be implemented. As seen in the 12-step process, Step 10 comes after conducting the public hearings and is one of the steps that covers a large time because of the bureaucratic processes involved in the concerned committees and concerned institutions. Why is the step important? Reviewing adoption and approval of the CLUP ensures the technical, ideological, and political soundness of plans. These three factors are what Professor Cerote enumerates as the needs of proper urban planning, and as such, technique, ideology, and politics is important to be considered in the final plans of the local government unit. The framework of the review and approval process can be seen in the local government structure of the Philippines. Because of the Local Government Code of 1991, we see how the relationships of municipalities, component cities, and independent cities differ from each other. Municipalities and cities are generally supervised by the provincial government, while the independent city is only generally supervised by the national government. It is important to note that the DHSUD released Memorandum Circular 2021-005 to enhance and revise Step 10 of the CLUP process. Some of the primary revisions and enhancements that you should know are the following: that the CLUP and zoning ordinance be submitted first to respective DHSUD offices before being submitted to the provincial and regional land use committees. Second, that there are already prescribed time periods for review activity, unlike in the past that the review timeframes are according to the appropriate timelines of the bodies involved. Thirdly is that vector GIS files are now required besides the soft copies of drafts and maps. Fourth is the inclusion of additional PLUC members. The Regional Office of the Department of Agriculture, the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Officer, and the Office of the Civil Defense whenever applicable. And last primary revision that I want to highlight is the removal of the prerequisite that an approved forest land use plan be required before the approval of the CLUP. For full details, DHSUD Region 4 has a recording of their technical discussions with local government units on this memorandum circular. What are the activities and expected outputs? One key difference from the CLUP guidebook because of the update of the DHSUD memorandum circular is that before the final draft reaches the PLUC or the RLUC, it should be submitted first to the DHSUD corresponding office to check for completeness. Only after checking the completeness will the draft CLUP and the zoning ordinance be submitted bodies. Which bodies are involved in review and approval? In general terms, for component cities and municipalities, it is the Provincial Land Use Committee and the Sangguniang Panlalawigan that approves. For the case of independent cities and highly urbanized cities, because of their impacts to regional development, not only to provincial development, the Regional Land Use Committee and even the DHSUD Secretary are approving bodies of their land use plans and zoning ordinances. For Metro Manila cities and the municipality of Pateros, the Metro Manila Development Authority and the Metro Manila Council are involved in the review and approval process. Who are members of the respective land use committees? The Provincial Land Use Committee is chaired by the Provincial Planning and Development Coordinator to ensure that the municipal or city land use plan is aligned with the Provincial Physical Framework Plan. The Regional Land Use Committee, meanwhile, is chaired by the Regional NEDA. Government agencies are members of each land use committee to ensure comprehensive land use plans. Also, the private sector is an important member of the land use committees because they are, for the case of the province, members of the Provincial Development Council. Some committee members, the CCC representative and the OCT representative, in my opinion, should be regular members of land use committees because they cover, respectively, climate change and disaster risk reduction. How long will the step take? In the past, the CLUP guidebook states that Step 10 is subject to the approving body's timetable. However, in the updated Memorandum Circular, the DHSUD prescribes that review should be completed within 3 months upon the receipt of the document by the reviewing body. However, additional time needed for legislative procedures of LGUs shall be considered and followed. These legislative procedures include the passing of the resolution for the land use plan and the zoning ordinance. What did it look like in my Tiwi experience? As consultants, we were not involved in the review and approval process. Previously, I have also stated that we are not involved from CLUP steps 9 to 11. One LGU whose land use plan was approved in 2021 was MANDAUE City. Interestingly, the MANDAUE City local sanggunian adopted its comprehensive land use plan as early as 2016, but only got approved on the national level in 2021. What is the status of your LGU's CLUP? Do you know if your LGU already has an updated CLUP? For context, the DILG had a deadline for CLUP submission in 2021. If your LGU has an updated CLUP, is it available on the website? Why should LGUs make CLUPs available online? First, it establishes trust and transparency. Second, it attracts private investments. Zoning information allows private sector to know where to put their investments in the future. Lastly, it engages citizen participation. The implementation of the programs and projects of the CLUP and any other plans of the local government lies heavily on the participation of the citizenry. Step 10 of the CLUP process can be seen as a culmination of the long process of drafting the land use plan and the zoning ordinance. However, it is only the start of a motivated exercise in implementing the various programs, projects, and activities that the local government wants to do to achieve its vision for its citizen.